and welcome back to Business Class. I'm really excited for today's episode because we're doing my favourite thing and talking about something that we shouldn't be talking about, or at least that's what we're told. Yeah. So today I'm joined by Holly Brooke and Jolie Sanderson, the founders of We Are Regular, an all-natural poo supplement. If you're uncomfortable with that word, I suggest that you tune out now. I feel like we should all just say poo, just a poo. Poo, 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 poo. That's our favourite thing to talk about. So Holly and Jolie's brand, We Are Regular, hit 6 figures in just 5 weeks, which is insane. That is no accident. Holly, who has helped build founder-led brands up to 6, 7, and 8 figures, paired with Jolie, who has been head of beauty at Grazia magazine, one of the biggest magazines in the world, paired up to create a brand that has literally been turning heads. So I don't even know where to start with this conversation, but I feel like the first question I have to start with is, how did you guys meet? Like, how did this come to be?
Well, it's quite the story. Yeah. Shall I go? Holly and I met in a nightclub.
Okay.
When we were underage. We were 16.
So we won't talk about that.
Oh my God, so you've known each other for ages.
Yeah,
then?
we were 16 in a nightclub in Leeds.
Wow.
Which was the first time we met. And then we went to university together in Manchester.
Wow. I didn't know this.
Yeah, we go way back.
We go way back. And it was the first week in Manchester. And I knew Holly's ex-boyfriend from Leeds. And I hated uni. I got there and I was like, this is awful. I haven't made any friends. And he messaged me saying Holly was the same. I was like, perfect, I'll message her. Because we knew each other, but not
Yeah, it was day one and I was a bit overwhelmed.
Same, I was overwhelmed. And then I messaged you asking if you wanted to go fancy dress shopping.
Yeah.
For like a freshers night out.
Freshers.
And then I slept on her hall for about a week and a half until I told the uni that I was being bullied and I needed to move so that I could move into her hall, which they did, which is very good. And then we lived together in Manchester and obviously work together now, which is...
That is crazy.
My maths is terrible, but 18 years later.
Yeah. That is insane. I don't even think I've known anyone for that long. So
you're a lot younger
than
us.
I'm still a fresh baby.
Yeah, you're a baby.
What was the conversation then that led to starting a brand together? Like, when did that feel right?
I mean, that was like supernatural as well. Like, it wasn't, we were at a friend's lunch a few years ago and I have been on, which I'm sure we'll get into, but I was on a real, I mean, I've been constipated like my whole entire life since as long as I can remember. Actually, like really kind of started to discover it when I went to university. But anyway, Joe and I were sat at a lunch and I had kind of been on this real journey with like testing supplements, trying everything, understanding like what worked for me, what didn't. I tried literally everything on the market, but I'd ended up finding this kind of like really amazing solution, but it was 30 supplements a day.
Wow.
But I was regular and I was going every single day. And I was someone who was, you know, once a week girl, sometimes even 2 weeks I would go and not poo. So then I was sat there, I was like dishing out all my pills and everything. And Jolie just turns to me and she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I've just finally found this solution and I'm finally regular. And she was like, you can't, that's not sustainable. And it was costing me a fortune. I was spending about 300 quid a month, like on all these supplements. But I think anybody who's listening to this who has experienced it, like you will pay anything when it comes to your health if you really do find a solution.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was that. And then Joe sort of turned and said, we need to make this a brand. We need to call it Regular. It doesn't need to cost the earth. And why don't we just start? And that was literally the start of it. Wow. It wasn't like we sat down and like orchestrated this whole thing. I think we both knew that we wanted to eventually end up in business. I mean, I've been in business, but like owning one for myself.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more special because it was so natural. Like the whole thing has been so, you know, as I'm sure it is when you speak to a lot of guests on here, it's like one decision and then and then another decision. And the next thing you know, 2 years later, we're launched and you know, you're like, oh my God, how did I get here?
And I think that's why as well it feels so amazing when it does really take off, because you're more so doing it for like passion and trying to help people rather than like money and everything that comes with it. And I think that really shows with like the content that you put out. So if you want to dive deeper into your guys' careers, so if we start with you Jolie at Grazia magazine, which sounds like the dream job. How did you get
into
We are all very jealous
like
of that
everything.
job.
Yeah.
How did you actually get into that?
So how I got into magazines, my first job was at Elle when I was 21. So when I was at uni, my sister was in magazines and got me an internship for like a month.
Yeah.
So when I was 20, I went and did that for a month, and I was like, whoa, this is like this whole new world. It was incredible. I never thought I would go specifically into beauty because I thought in magazines everything was just features.
Yeah.
And then it kind of, you know, segmented from there. And then I went on the beauty desk and they let me into the beauty cupboard, and it was as big as this room with thousands of products. And I was like, I'm home.
Is it like in Devil
I
Wears
am
Prada
home.
when there's like the big closet and you can
It was at Elle. It was
dream.
And then I finished uni. I was 21. Went to obviously Manchester with Hall. I went to Bali for a month, and then the week I got back, that was it. Started at Elle.
Wow.
Interned, and then got a job there. So that was 13 years ago. And I was at Elle, and then I went to Grazia, and then I went back to Elle, and then I went back to Grazia. So going from like assistant, writer, editor, director, and then I left when I was head of beauty. So,
wow, crazy.
which I was proud of. I kind of made it to the top.
Yeah.
And I think off Holly's point just then, which is really interesting, like Holly and I didn't even have a conversation at the beginning, like, so, you know, we'll give up our job. Yeah. Like that wasn't, we literally just did it week from week. And then Hall ended up giving her job up first.
Yeah.
And we didn't even have a conversation, and there was no like pressure from Hall for me to do it. Thank God I did, because I don't even know now in my head how I ever thought I would be able to juggle the two and being a parent.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a wild career and amazing. I met the most amazing people and did a lot of exciting things. And I guess when we spoke about launching the brand together, and people were very much like, oh, what are you doing? Both in beauty, skincare.
Yeah.
So when we said a poo brand, it was a bit of a shock factor. They were like, what?
So
and then,
just,
that's not glamorous.
Yeah,
weird.
literally, the
You used to
reaction.
going on, I don't know, Dior, Chanel, poster,
yeah.
and staying in amazing hotels and interviewing celebrities. And now here I am, and it's the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah, best thing ever.
Wow. What would you say out of your whole time there in your career has been like the biggest career highlight that you look back on?
My biggest career highlight in Mags would be launching a beauty magazine, my standalone.
Yeah.
So obviously did it with the team, but I did 2 before I left, and they were 100 pages, just beauty. And from everything from the cover to all the pages inside, we worked so hard. And for the first one, we had like a month to pull it together.
Wow.
Alongside our existing schedule and magazines and all online. So that was a really proud moment. And then like a really standout cover moment, because I used to do the beauty covers, was just after COVID. And we had 6 real women on the cover, and we got them via social. And it was basically about what beauty meant to them. Yeah. So imagine there was a lot of people. We just had all of the restrictions lifted, and I was like, oh my God, if they put them back in place, the shoot's done, the idea is done, because they totally could. Yeah. And that was amazing, speaking to like real women, real readers. Wow. So I'd say those were my 2 highlights. And then I launched a podcast, which was really fun. So I think that's what I liked about my job, is it was very varied. Yeah. And I would say now it's even more varied, because at Grazia and I was doing the stuff, it was varied, but I knew all of it, and I knew how to do it. So now it's varied in a different way, that I'm doing the stuff I know how to do, but also stuff that I don't know how to do. So it's a good mix.
And then I always love to ask people what is like the not so glamorous side of it. So like what was maybe a time in that career where you literally maybe felt like giving up, or you were just really low and you didn't know how to navigate through it?
I had one case of what I would properly call burnout. And I was a yes person. I was very young when I got the director role in terms of like the industry. I think I was like the youngest in that director role across magazines. Yeah. And I did not know what I was doing, and I hadn't done them anything before, but I was just like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, sure. I can do a cover shoot, I think in like within 2 weeks with Helen Mirren and like Winnie Harlow I had to get. Wow. So I just said yes to everything. Yeah. Can you launch a podcast? Yeah, okay. I'll get like 10 guests to it. Like I would just say yes because I wanted to do all of those things. But I just pushed myself to the point. And I remember speaking to my manager, and I just burst out crying. I was like, I can't do this. I'm not sleeping. Yeah. And she was like, wow. And she didn't know this. She was like, I'm not surprised. You've taken on so much, but because you always just were like, I can do that. Yeah. You never seemed fazed by it. Yeah. Whereas now I would very much know to be like, no, okay, I think I'm at my limit now. I need to take a step back, which when you're in your own business is hard. Mm-hmm. It is hard. And that's why I think we're so lucky that we're two of us.
Yeah.
And I think that's the risk as well, like with being people in the sense of at that point in your career, I think a lot of us are, because I think that's why we've ended up being successful, because you do just take on stuff and you say yes and you kind of throw yourself into it. But like the impact that then has, and then the what that then says to other people is that like you can take on everything.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a slippery slope because then you project yourself as this person that can do anything, is strong. Like, oh, Holly will do it because she's strong, she can get on with it. Joe can do it, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you almost have to spend a lot of your, I would say more like later 20s, early 30s correcting that.
Yeah, so true.
Because people are then kind of like have this expectation that you can do everything. And it's like, actually, no, guys. And I've like really started to lean into kind of going, I've had enough. I'm struggling.
And that doesn't make you like a bad person.
No.
But I think there's such a standard with women, and like I feel like this year and the past few months for me have been about correcting how people see me, because I've always been like I don't mind, like a yes person. I'm too nice, like, and people, they just think, oh, I'll just say that to Vic because she won't say anything back. Yeah. So this year I feel like I've tried to really like shift my boundaries and like what I stand for, and some people have taken that as like, she's a bit of a bitch or she's a bit of a that, and you're like, I'm just standing up for myself.
Bitch is honestly the worst term.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly,
and it gets thrown at women.
Yeah,
right?
by other women.
No man is ever called a bitch.
No, never.
And it pisses me off so much.
Yeah.
Like being awful. A bitch is not always a bad thing. There's there's different sides of being like aggressive or passive aggressive. Yeah. But the word bitch and it being like you not taking any shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The association is what's not bad with being a bitch. Like it's that I know if anyone refers to someone as a bitch, like I will always ask the question, like think to myself, like, but or are they just putting boundaries in place?
Yeah.
I think especially in a work capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's like a superpower to not stand for anyone's
100%.
shit. I really look up to people that,
and men are celebrated.
It's a privilege.
Men are absolutely celebrated for that.
Yeah,
they are.
So Holly, if we look at your career, like obviously you've traveled the world, you've worked with different founder brands, you've built them up to massive places it's like 12 years that you've been doing that for,
pretty
which
much.
is crazy. So what's that been like, and how did you get into doing that?
I had a bit of a different, well, I guess like I did business at Manchester University, which is obviously where I met Joe. And I always was like fascinated with business, but like with my career, I feel like I've never really had I've always been very much just trust your gut and follow kind of the route that feels right in the moment and say yes to stuff.
Yeah.
I've just inherently always ended up in startup brands, in founder-led brands. Every single company I've ever worked in, like my first grad job was the Hut Group, which obviously, you know, was like, and that was like, you know, we're talking 12, 13 years ago. So that was a very different business as to what it is now.
Yeah.
But even then it was like intense baptism of fire for a grad job.
Yeah.
But I've just always said yes and like figured it out later. And then I just went through, I think I was like 23, 24. I went through like a pretty full-on breakup. So the only solution was to like move to the other side of the world, because what else do you do?
Of course.
So they can't find me there. So you know, let's go to Australia. So I moved to Sydney.
Wow.
I thought I'd be there forever. Like everyone was like, you hate the sun, why are you going to Australia? Turns out I did love it, and it really was like, I definitely think the springboard that kind of like sent me on this trajectory of the career I kind of really ended up in, which was essentially like managing talent and creating brands for them. And I came back, I worked at Gleam in London, which obviously had like Zoella and Tanya Burr and all the like OG influencers and creators. And that was then where I met Caroline Hirons, which was then how I ended up working with her for 5 years. And it's funny, I was thinking about it this morning on the way here, like now obviously being a founder and owning your own brand, the journey that I kind of came into, I was the third employee with Caroline. There was her, the managing director, and then a couple of her family that worked for her. And I think she'd obviously just seen something in me. I was only like 27, 28 at the time. And I think she'd just seen something in me that, I mean, I just get shit done. Like I like, again, say yes, figure it out later. Like, no, I love problem solving. Like love seeing something that's not working, or like just, you know, and solving it and coming out the other side as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible. Yeah. And I guess you saw that. But now being a founder, you realise like how, and not to like toot, I mean, I think we should all toot our own horn from now and again. So I'm really not against like, you know, we should.
We've got a brand to sell.
Yeah, literally. I think you realise how rare those people are. Like that I came in as like a head of operations. And I mean, I was 27, 28.
Yeah.
And then spent 5 years by the time I left, I was commercial director. The business was at 50 people, so it had
Yeah,
expanded
that
and
is
grown
mad.
so much.
That is crazy.
We hadn't even launched Skin Rocks as a brand at that point. All we were focusing on, we'd done one skincare kit, which they still do now, and they're super successful. I launched an app. Like I did so much there. And I'm really grateful for the trust that she put into me, because she just kind of said, like, crack on, run with it. We launched retail, I did Liberty, I did Space and K, like all of the big opportunities. And I think, like, you realise how important it is. People is always going to be the hardest thing in business to find. Yeah. And I feel like when I'm now reflecting on it, do I sit back and I go, do you know what? Yeah, I can't swear on this, but I did a fucking lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of that, because like, I didn't know, like, I mean, I was about building the businesses. I was building them for other people, but it's like so different when you're, you know, looking at P&Ls and determining, you know, budgets and everything for departments, hiring, like.
Yeah, it's so hard.
And I was really lucky that I got to do that on other people's money, honestly, and time, you know. And I poured my absolute everything into those brands, and I've always seen, like, the whole, you know, CH and Skin Rocks and everything else. I always saw that as like partly my brand.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you didn't approach it like you were just working there. Like, you gave it your
I gave my absolute everything to that, and I think it came at a time where I was really ready, because talent managing I was burnt out again. Like, I had like a very kind of like intense feeling of burnout where I just had to. And at the time, I think when burnout happens, you don't really realize what it is, especially at quite a young age. You're like.
So you burst out crying in a meeting. You're like,
oh my God, why am I? Yeah, and you just feeling really, you like, for me, like, my brain just like fundamentally just stopped working. I was like, I could not. I felt
you
like
zone out, don't you? Like, I just like, I get it every couple of months. I just like sit and stare at a wall, and I'm just like, I can't function as a human being.
Yeah, I think you need to know your limits. Yeah. It's a really good lesson.
And I think you kind of, as you get older, you kind of become more, I guess, comfortable knowing what your limits are. And you learn what your limits are. At 21, you don't know what your limits are, because you don't have any limits. You're like, oh, God.
Too much energy.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm tired.
Exactly.
Do you think, like, when you've got startup businesses and then you've got existing, like, bigger corporate, I always say I think it takes a special type of person to work in a startup business, because you have got to almost see it as your own to excel there. I think if you just go in thinking this is just going to be a normal job, and you know, this person's still, like, I'm still working things out for the first time, and I think I've noticed in my staff, like, the people that tend to you know, stay longer or really get the most out of it, they literally treat it like it's their own business. Yeah. Did you find that when you were there?
Yeah, for sure. And I do think, like, everyone's different, but for me, I like the thought of I've never been in a corporate job in my life. Yeah. Like, the thought of doing that like makes me feel ill. Yeah. Only because it's just like, I need to be challenged, I need to be stimulated, and in like those environments. And I also really like the ownership. I'm a bit of a control freak. I'm an only child. Like, you know, I'm very used to kind of being independent from a super young age. Yeah. So, like, to have someone telling me what to do, no, thank you. Like,
but I don't even think just that for you. In terms of, like, I feel like when you're at a startup like you were, you are giving a bit of, like, a crack on, because you have to.
Yeah. No one's holding your hand.
Yeah, and left your own devices, whereas there are always limits, because something, like, you know, in a big company, it has to go to this person, and then it goes to this person. Yeah. And by the time you've done it, it's diluted your ideas. Yeah. And I guess in terms of how that's translated to our brand now is you can be quick, you can pivot. We literally pivot on the day. We're like, this is a terrible idea. This filming idea isn't working. So you can pivot and make those decisions. But if you're like a huge company, let's go to Paris.
So the red tape is and I think that must be hard. We speak to a lot of founders, and no founders, obviously, when you think, Caroline used to always be like, I don't want to ever get corporate. Yeah. And unfortunately, like, there is it's a really tricky thing to navigate, because you will eventually, as you expand, things come into place. You can't, you know, but as much as you can maintain, I was listening to the founder of Sporty and Rich the other day. I always forget, is it Amelia or? Yeah. And she was saying, you know, she's retained full ownership, but she was just saying, I never wanted to lose that. And they're, you know, massive company now. And I really feel like she's held on to that kind of like autonomy of like doing, you know,
what it is. Energy.
Yeah. It's hard to harvest it.
What for you was the best moment you had, or like the massive pinch me moment you had there?
At the time, I really said like the launching Liberty, because for us that was our flagship. It is the Skin Rocks flagship, and I was like, Caroline didn't see that pretty much until the day we installed.
Yeah.
Like that was a year, like, you know, for her to have just sort of let me run with that.
Yeah.
I felt really privileged, and it was a massive moment. And Liberty is obviously just a iconic department store. And we really pushed the boundaries with what we could do in that space. If you ever visit Liberty and you see the Skin Rocks stand, like it's so different in comparison to what else is there, especially for such a heritage retailer like Liberty. They really trusted us.
Yeah.
And I like that was me, not like, you know, there was a team, of course, of us, but like that me pushing for that.
Yeah.
So I feel really proud of that. Kind of feel really proud of.
So you should.
You should.
Let's go.
Amen.
Yeah.
And
Amen.
what was the toughest part, like the bit that you struggled to get through?
I mean, it's intense. Like working in a startup is intense.
Yeah.
And what always drew me to Caroline was her like just no bullshit.
Yeah.
Says it how it is. Her
Yeah.
attitude. She was also going into talent at that time. She was a grown up. She wasn't like there's a lot of young people.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of an old soul, so I kind of really loved her like no nonsense attitude, and she knew what she was talking about.
Yeah.
But the dynamic in any startup is always like you don't know. You don't always know like. Every day is so different.
Yeah.
And I love the challenge of that, but like sometimes you have to really kind of like force yourself to take a step back and also realize like it's not your company.
Yeah.
As much as you can think it is, it is not your business, and it's no shade, but like the reality is like Caroline's fundamental focus is her and her business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course that, because we're the same now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I suppose it's just like understanding your limits and like knowing when to kind of okay,
and
enough
ultimately,
now.
when you leave, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you know,
You felt that when, you know,
Yeah.
with Grazia, like ultimately at the end of the day, like when you go, you go. And,
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, life moves on.
Yeah,
God,
they,
not that
you get
important.
replaced.
Yeah,
Like, and that's
Dude,
life,
and
isn't it?
And I remember it happening to me, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, but it's so weird. Because I was there twice. I was like, I've given a decade to a
Yeah.
brand, and then I'm there one day, and then I'm not.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
emails are gone.
It's
And
crazy.
it just was like, I don't know. It was a weird feeling that I
Yeah.
hadn't
Yeah.
expected. Because all the late night shifts,
Yeah.
all the stress you
Yeah.
do, you are ultimately doing it for someone else.
else.
You're doing it for your own sake
Yeah.
and your own growth, but you
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
doing it for someone else. So it's
Yeah.
a really nice, enriching is such a cheesy word, but that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
came to my mind. Enriching
Yeah.
experience to do that for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
And
it
like-
both feel like the right time when you did leave each
Yeah.
of your jobs?
And I think for us, I think it was definitely the freedom for me.
Yeah.
I was like, I had really reached a point where, and don't get me wrong, when I gave my notice, I left. I gave my notice in August. I left in December, because again, they were like super. You know, they kind of were always like, we saw this coming, but maybe just not as soon as it's ended up being.
Yeah.
I was a mess, because for me, 5 years in a startup, it's like the end of an era. Like that was
Yeah.
5 years feels like 10,
Oh
15.
my God,
for
yeah.
sure.
It's
And
And
crazy.
it was such a pivotal part of my life. So I was
Yeah.
kind of like, I was just emotional wreck.
Yeah.
Caroline was like, we look really happy about the decision. So, I mean, but yeah, I think it was the freedom for me. Like
Yeah.
not having to answer to anyone and being able to work on my terms when I wanted,
Yeah.
have the autonomy. That was so important to me, and that has always been my driver. So even when I'm having a day where I'm like, I'm struggling, I'm like,
Yeah.
just remember the reason why you started this, and
Yeah.
it is the freedom. And over time, it will become harder, and it will also become easier. And
Yeah.
like, you know, we're in that stage at the moment where it's always graft, but it's like a different kind of graft when you're
Yeah.
in this period of
Yeah.
like initial sort of launch and growth.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, we're a relatively lean team. So
Yeah.
the more people that come in, the more you can kind of, and delegation is super important, but yeah, the freedom.
And I think with freedom, and it's people are gravitating towards that in roles
Yeah.
they're offered, like post-COVID.
Yeah.
They don't want to be in the office 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Or when I left Grazia, I was only 2.5 days there, which had changed from, I was 5 days and I went down to 4
Yeah.
days. And then it just kind of went down
Yeah.
and down, so I could do some other stuff on the side, like consultancy bits. So I had a lot of freedom there, which was super lucky to do that, especially when I became a mum. I felt like I had a really good balance.
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of freedom, I guess, for me now, as in it's definitely more hours.
Yeah.
And it's harder. I'm like, oh my God, it was so
That's
easy
true. I didn't
before.
think, yeah.
There's
Yeah,
like
I've
freedom
gone
in
from-
some ways, but some ways it's
I
just
went
not.
from 2.5 days. Oh, fabulous.
Lovely.
Friday. To now it's less freedom, but different kind of freedom.
Yeah,
that I guess
it
is more
is.
empowering.
And can we really quickly touch on like throwing kids into the mix and having a baby? Like, how
Yeah.
did you find
I
that
could talk about it all day.
experience?
I mean, having a baby changed me in ways that I just hadn't expected. I'm on a 4, my sister's got 4 kids, so I spend time with all the time.
Yeah.
And she kind of made it look easier than it was, or I just wasn't as tuned into it as I thought I was.
Yeah.
And a really difficult, like traumatizing pregnancy. The birth situation was not very good. So I think I had definitely like postnatal anxiety.
Yeah.
Not so much depression, but anxiety for a couple months. And so I found that hard, and it was hard to get into my groove. We moved house. I was in this new place. I was lonely. So I think being thrown all of those emotions, I was like, I'm exhausted. And I'm also existing on no sleep. My baby doesn't sleep. So when Holly and I had the business idea, I was still on maternity leave. I think it was about 8 months at the time. And I'd just missed creativity. I'd always worked from literally the day I left uni.
Yeah.
I'd never not worked.
Yeah.
I'd come to the 2.5 days by that point, but I'd never not had a creative output. And I missed it. I missed work. Not to say I didn't love being a parent, but I found it really hard.
Yeah.
That was my all day, every day, revolves around naps. And also at that age, they don't give you as much back as like my son is 2.5 now, and it's the best age. It's hilarious. They're giving you so much back.
Yeah.
But a lot of that time, it's right, feed them, do this, give them that, put them for a nap.
Yeah.
So the creative freedom that then came by doing this while I was still on maternity leave gave me like a zest, as it were, like gave me a bit of an injection. And and I just absolutely loved it. And then I went back to work a couple of months after that, and I enjoyed it. I loved the creativity. I liked being in an office again. I was only in the office 1 day a week, but on that day, like brainstorming and having all of those elements. And it's actually harder to leave, my son now than it was then. He used to do that saunter off, and nursery were like, wow, he's so independent. I was like, literally doesn't love me at all. Whereas now it's really hard because he's so upset when I leave him in the morning, and then, like, I know we'll get onto this, but the mum guilt is the hardest thing that I struggle with, and just the juggle in general, because he's at an age where he can be like, love you, mama, don't leave me. And I'm like, and so again, like, I guess setting boundaries, which Holly and I do, so we can, like, we didn't start this to just sit at our desk for 14 hours a day. We want to have life outside of that. We want to have life outside of it as friends, as a partner, as a mother. So it changed me in a lot of ways that I wasn't prepared for, but I definitely feel like more in my flow now.
Yeah. And do you think like just starting a business in general just helps with that mindset of you don't really care about people's opinions as much because you guys have just taken this massive leap now?
You have to.
Yeah.
Especially when you launch a brand about poo, you haven't got much choice. Like we always say, and like breaking the poo taboo is our mission. It's been our mission on social. We feel like it's a very quiet space that we want to be really loud in. Like, would we have felt comfortable a year ago doing what we do now on social? Probably not. But the more you do it, the more confident you get. And then you have to just not care if someone was like, I talked about having a finger at my bum the other day on a podcast for health reasons. An amazing podcast, and they put it as the title, and I was like, props to you.
Podcast title ever.
I've worked in magazines, and I know how to choose a headline. Go for it. And I literally saw it and I burst out laughing and been like, that's brilliant. Had that happened to me a year ago, I'd be like, oh my God,
like, can you take that down?
Finger at my bum.
It's so embarrassing.
Yes, I did. I went to the doctors. But I don't really get embarrassed anymore.
No.
Do you?
No, and you just I kind of see it as like, it's become more of a personal mission to like wave the flag for everybody else. Because I've now obviously once the brand, it was a very different experience. Like when we were launching, we launched end of September. I realized the brand has literally only been out for like 2 months.
That's
which is insane.
Does it feel like forever?
It feels like 20 years.
We worked on it for 2 years.
Like the best way, but like it's it's wild. And now seeing the feedback, the testimonials, like the customers and the community that we have built like in such a short space of time, I'm so proud of. And so many times we get messages being like, you're making me more confident to talk about this with like my friends around a dinner table. That's what we want, because the product's all well and good. The product and the product won't be for everybody. Do you know, if you're not constipated, you're not bloated. I mean, look, my boyfriend takes it and he does not need it from a constipation perspective. So it is, it is kind of, the ingredients lend it to be an all-rounder, but it is kind of, it's for people, if it's for you or not.
Yeah.
But there's a whole bigger conversation around the fact that we don't talk about poo. And what we kind of really want to do with the brand is take the lid off what kind of happened with period care, right? Like, 5-6 years ago, you'd hide your tampons up your sleeve. You would be really ashamed by them.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, guys, it's a bodily function. It's like breathing.
Normal.
Every single person on this planet does it.
Yeah.
Why are we shaming it? Like, you've got no issue standing up at a dinner table and going, I've just got to go for a wee.
Yeah. Or like, I've just had a cry.
Yeah.
Like, that's just so normal, isn't it?
Yeah, why are we kind of, and I fundamentally understand, like, I guess, socially why, but at the same time, it doesn't make it right. And so, and again, the disparity between men and women, how women are much more shamed for it. Men are quite happy to sit for 45 minutes on the toilet scrolling TikTok.
Yeah.
We can barely get 5 minutes.
Do you know what? I'd love to do that. Other than the point, you shouldn't sit there for more than 5 minutes because it'll give you hemorrhoids.
Yeah.
But how nice would that be?
That would be dreaming.
And I actually put something on Instagram about that and like how long do partners sit on the loo.
Yeah.
They're like, always happens at toddler bedtime.
Yeah.
Or like the most inconvenient times. I was thinking, I'd love to just sit there. Just like scroll for 45. I mean, I actually can't wrap my head around 45 minutes.
That is crazy.
I bloody love it.
Insane.
I remember my dad used to do that. Like when I was younger, like my mum would always joke and be like, get straight in from work. He's in that bathroom for about 40 minutes. I'm, slaving away in the kitchen.
Not even a nap.
I know, it is.
Yeah, literally.
How do you even go about making a poo supplement? Like that sounds so scientific to me. Like how did you even start the process of creating that?
In a way, not even weird, but in a way, I feel obviously I've been kind of like creating this product for the last like 17, 20 years of my life because I've suffered with constipation for so long.
Yeah.
So I honestly have tried everything, like to a point where I've spent thousands seeing specialists because unfortunately, the NHS, it is like so stretched.
Yeah.
And I often would find that it was kind of like a cycle. Like I would have I'd get pretty down with it because there's a whole, I know we'll get into it, there's a whole gut-brain connection that I really impacted my mental health.
Yeah.
And there'd be times where I'd realise, wow, I'm only going like once every 10 days. That's really not right. So I'd go to a GP. They'd kind of pass me off with the whole, you got IBS. All right, fine. But what does that mean? Like, I don't actually understand, like, what's the diagnosis apart from eat some kiwis and have a bit more water? Like, I was healthy. I exercised, I ate well, like by the most part,
Was it nothing to do with stress then or anything or work?
I think mine was stress. And actually, really recently, this is super random, but I have been going through hypnotherapy.
Oh, I love it, hypno.
It's life-changing. So good. Anyone listening who's like interested by it, like I definitely would encourage you. It's really kind of like I'm so obnoxious. I was literally like, they won't be able to hypnotize me. I was like, how do they do it? And honestly, it's like really helped me. But anyway, in that, and I went through quite a lot of trauma as a kid, and I was actually speaking to her, and she was like, how long have you had your constipation? I said, pretty much my whole life. And she goes, it's from your childhood. Wow. Which is, and there's a lot of genetic factors as to why people are more susceptible to constipation and gut problems as a whole.
Yeah.
And you've got something like 500 million neurotransmitters in your gut. Like your gut brain is a thing. And it's super powerful. So I think like stress was definitely a thing. Like for me, I'd get to like Friday, 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Finish work. I'd go for a poo.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I'm sorry, but if that's not more of a like,
that is mad.
But
that's the proof, right?
Yeah. But then I guess it became then even harder because it wasn't like I was eating something wrong. I've altered my diet slightly over the years to kind of help it and be better. So then I guess that was, and even at one point I remember going to a specialist and he was like, well, we could put you on low dose antidepressants. And I was like, I'm not depressed.
Yeah.
Like,
I just need a poo.
For the love of God, let me poo.
For the love of God. And I think that for me was a bit like the straw that broke the camel's back because I was like, I'm not. And there was scientific research behind why that was. It wasn't just because he thought like, it was more because it supposedly low dose can reset the gut brain axis.
Yeah.
Which to be fair, makes sense.
Yeah.
But that was a step too far for me. So then that's when I really started experimenting with like different ingredients and I went down a bit more of like a naturopathic route. And that was when I discovered my 30 supplements and I was just making them all myself.
Popping pills every day.
Yeah.
It was mad. It was massive.
I still have
like,
it. I refuse to get rid of it. It's like a little shrine to my old life.
What are you doing? Like, it was more so like just, obviously I've known Holly for 18 years. I've seen her struggle.
Yeah.
So when she was like, but it's making me regular, I was so happy for her. But I was like, this isn't sustainable.
Yeah.
So let's put this in a thing and make it sustainable.
Yeah. And I think that made it a lot easier going, we're not scientists, okay? We don't claim to be. this product was born out of my own lived experience. And so that then gave me a really strong hand to go to a manufacturer that took us ages to find the right one and say, this is everything I'm taking, go and replicate this. And the challenge that we had to face into, and I'm really glad we've ended up with the finished product that we did, was because essentially I was taking 30 supplements, so you couldn't then convert that into 2 capsules because you wouldn't be able to get that much formula into 2 capsules. So that's why we've ended up with this like really handy stick. We realized we would have brought some with us, but we're sold out. We literally have 0 stock.
I saw you stock.
Yeah, we actually have none. So otherwise would have brought it with us. But it's 8.5 grams of powder. In a really handy stick that you just pour into water. You can do it in coconut water. You can take it with you. You can put it in your bag. Because constipation doesn't happen at home. Do you know what I mean? Like you need to have it on you.
Yeah.
And it's really great for giving out to friends if you're speaking to someone and they're like, oh God, I haven't been for 3 days. You're like, there you go.
Yeah.
Have a
Have
day.
to get one of those
Absolutely love you for it.
Yeah.
The
really.
gift of poo.
The gift
of poo.
I remember I had my first poo experience when but probably when I was first born, but when I was at school, and you feel like you can't poo at school. I remember when in high school, it would even be a thing where if you'd go to the toilet and, you know, girls were like at school, like, ew, someone's pooed, it smells.
Yeah.
And you have to do it really quick.
Poo.
You're like, oh.
Poo and flush. Like, I just
yeah.
remember I had so much anxiety around school anyway, but I just remember I just would never poo at school ever.
Yeah.
And I remember like coming home and I can't remember what my mum gave me. I swear it was like tablets called like Windies or something.
Yes.
Or like something like that.
Mm.
And she was just like, Vic, you've just got to, like, it's normal. You've just got to do it at school. And I just didn't. And that like properly ruined I like still think I have stomach issues to this day.
Because of that. Yeah, 100% you do.
It's so bad, isn't it?
Andrex did a study, and it was last year, and it's scary how many, specifically school girls, won't poo at school. Because, your mates would be like, oh, it smells. Oh, you've been in so-and-so's had a poo. Yeah. And imagine if those girls had the confidence to turn around and be like,
and what?
Just did a massive shit.
Yeah.
And you know what? I feel amazing. The boys will be like, oh, all right then.
And they don't even let you go to the toilet. Like in my school, I don't know if it's the same in every school. But I remember...
For like 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to go to the toilet if you ask. You can put your hand up and you have to be like, I really need to.
Yeah.
But otherwise you can't. You have to go in between lessons.
Yeah.
If I need to poo, I need to poo like now.
Yeah, I used to put my hand up, and I think the only time you could go is if you had a special card in my school, whether it was you had really bad periods or you had like IBS, which I didn't have. So I remember I'd just say like, I can feel it coming, you know, I need to go put my hand up, and they just go, you're going to have to wait till after lesson, or you're going to have to wait till the end of that. And I was like, in high school, like in my teens, and it just ruined my stomach even further. And I think that's where it all starts with like not speaking about it.
100%.
It's awful,
and it's a muscle, right? And we spoke with an amazing doctor who spoke about the muscle, and when you're contracting and really holding it in, that has long-term health impact.
Yeah, it does.
So if we speak a bit about like how the gut and the brain are connected, this is one of my favourite topics to speak about, because I think I've done loads of research on it this year. I had like a massive nervous system crash. I had like a massive flare up in my eyes, wasn't eating properly, like just from stress from work. And I think that was the first time where someone actually said to me, your gut is connected to your brain and your stress, and I had no idea that was even a thing. So what have you guys like learnt about that, and how important is it that as business owners that are so stressed all the time that we really look after our gut health? Like is there like further implications down the line that can, you know, that people need to know about?
Yeah, I think the complexity of the gut is like the first place and the first thing to like super emphasize, because the gut is like I said, 500 million neurotransmitters are in your gut. Like that is such a complex like hybrid of just so much going on, and then the nuance of like how different everybody is. So I think from my own personal experience, I honestly I had one colonic. For the first time. I've only ever had one, but that was again kind of the thing that like catapulted me into this journey. And I cannot stress like how I came out of that place floating after kind of getting rid of the toxin buildup that was happening in my gut. Like bearing in mind I had not been regular my entire adult life. So I then became quite addicted to that feeling, because what I've learned through a lot of tests and stuff that I've had, my estrogen levels are super high, for example. So my estrogen levels are most likely probably high because I was regurgitated, like your hormones just recycle. If you're not getting rid of them in your poo, then your hormones are just sort of sitting there, and they're old hormones which are not good for you in any way. So the cleanse, I guess, I kind of felt from like getting rid of old toxins mentally was so powerful. And so like anyone listening, I would always say, you know, when it comes to the gut, and there is, I guess, maybe a question mark around, you know, am I regular enough? I mean, the NHS advise anything between 3 times a day and 3 times a week is considered normal, right?
That's very vague, isn't it, though?
That's the thing.
So I don't want to poo every 3 days.
No.
I want to poo every day.
Yeah,
I wanna do it
exactly.
in the morning. I want to feel good for the day. It sets you up for the day.
It does,
Yeah.
it does.
Literally.
It
I
really
love
does.
how everyone has a scheduled time as well. Like
I wish I
I've got some
did.
friends where it's like,
Oh,
I
I
just need
don't.
my morning poo or my evening poo, like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
set time. I don't think I've got a schedule.
Some people
actually.
just sit
When
there.
I gotta go.
Husband, when he'll just sit there, like he's decided, he's like, do you know what, I'm gonna have a poo now. Then he'll sit. 10 minutes later, and I'm like, did you just decide to do that? Like, to me, that's mental.
Yeah,
But
you just got to go. No control
I want to go
over
one
it.
morning, lunch, dinner.
Yeah,
You
I
want
don't
it
know
before
why.
a night out. Stunning.
Yeah. I don't have that luxury, I would
No.
say,
No.
of doing that.
I think it's learning how to calm your nervous system, because we all know, like as founders, like it's high stress a lot of the time, in varying degrees, and cortisol has a massive impact on your gut microbiome. So like, and everyone's different, but anything you can really lean into. Like for me, for example, like music really calms me, and I've realized
you're always
since
a good playlist.
I love, like, it's like therapy.
Yeah.
And I've really noticed since not going into an office anymore as much, like I don't walk into like for 30, 40 minutes. So I don't listen to music as much in the day. It's really impacted like
I
my,
hadn't thought about that because I used to walk to work.
Yeah.
Just like some
Get your steps in.
good tunes.
yeah, it just, I
Bit of
like,
escapism.
Yeah.
so yeah, anything, you know, breathing, all that stuff. I know everyone hates, like, I feel like everyone hates hearing it, but it works.
It does
and I think
work,
anything
yeah.
you can do to sort of calm your nervous system at the end of a day, or it's consistency and and like frequency at which you do stuff. You don't need to sit there for like an hour meditating, but you do need to be spending 5 minutes of your day,
little daily habit.
decompressing.
People just love to ignore that, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, I think unless you've had a health scare yourself,
Yeah.
that's when you only take it seriously. And even like this year, it's taken me months, but I've finally come off like my antidepressants. And my yoga teacher said, if you do 5 minutes of breath work a day, it has the same effects as your antidepressants.
Wow.
Like,
And do you find that it did?
I think it does,
Yeah, no, I'm not
and I
surprised
I
that.
still can't do it regularly every day, even though it's 5 minutes of my
Yeah,
day. Like,
it's
I, you know,
finding
I can
time.
find time to scroll on TikTok for
5 minutes,
5 minutes, but I can't do breath work. But I do think that it's one of those things that you hear so many founders talk about, but you don't actually really take it on board till you've had it yourself. Like I always say to people, like, you're your best asset. If you're not healthy and functioning, your business can't. And everyone's like, yeah, I know, but they don't.
No, it's
They don't
seriously
really
true,
do
though,
it.
yeah.
So if we talk some poo stories, have you got
Stunning.
a particular funny poo story you can share with us today?
I've got lots. And I've told a few of them before, so I might tell a more recent one.
Excellent.
She has more than one.
So
loads.
it's
So
been quite the season for germs, as Holly will know.
Yeah.
It's also why I sound like Phoebe from Friends, got a bit of a cold. And when my toddlers come home from nursery, germ after germ, and bless him, he had the worst sickness bout a couple of weeks ago, and my husband was away. So he sleeps with us, sleeps in my bed. And he'd woken up and he'd thrown up in the bed. He was so upset. So I was trying to change him in the night, change his nappy. And I didn't think he'd done a poo. I checked. I changed his nappy in the dark. And then he was sick a little bit later. And I hadn't realised. And I woke up and he was in the bed and I'd rolled into it. All like I
It was a
took picture.
horror show.
All the way down my leg. Like I woke up and I was like, what is that?
Ew.
On my face.
Oh,
it was
God.
next to me on the pillow.
Is it
And
because
I
you were just so tired you just went back to sleep
I
and
was
then you
so
didn't
tired
realise?
to change the nappy in the night, and then he woke up and threw up, which when I turned the lights on and saw the poo and the sick, and I was on my own, I was like, shit. So I scooped him up. Him and I went for like a 2 a.m. shower, and I was making sure he was all okay. And then I was like, I feel disgusting. I was covered in poo, and I had to strip the sheets. And so, yeah, I was basically covered
Glamorous mum life.
in
nothing
poo,
like-
which is the glam mum moment.
There's
But
really
bless him. But
Nothing
yeah.
like parenthood to really humble you. You
I know. I
Oh,
always
there's poo
thought.
on the carpet.
Yeah.
It was on my cream carpet. I couldn't get it out of the carpet.
Wait, the time when we were the first week of when we went on sale. So we went on sale and we kind of like Donnie and I, my boyfriend, we camped out at Joe and James's house, and obviously Raph was there and everything. We like spent a few days and we launched, and we did for the first week we shipped everything out ourselves. which quickly had to move and change into, we've got a 3PL now, thank God, because we kind of had to turn that around super quickly because it was just not sustainable.
Like hundreds of orders a day from my house was not sustainable.
And then and Raf had kind of built this like fort with like all the boxes for all the shipping bags and everything else. And I remember looking over at the corner of the wall and there was just like a brown stain.
The product was nowhere near
No,
this,
the
by
product
the
was
way.
nowhere near it, but it
This
was more
was
just
empty boxes in a different room.
Yeah, it was
just breakfast.
It was, just
Exactly.
breakfast. It was just more the fact that we were like, oh
It's
my
just
God.
chaos. Our friend was there the other day, he'd pooed on the rug. Like, it just happens in parenthood.
it's just
but
normal.
you do become very like desensitized to it because you're so used to that all day.
Because I have such a sensitive gag reflex with smells. So like, for example, like my nephew, like if they change his nappy, I'm like, ugh, I'm like, no, I can't. But then my sister-in-law, she was like, well, if you have a baby, Vic, like you need to get used to the smell. And I think you probably just do become.
I think
used
when
to
it's
it.
your own, it's different though. Is what everyone says.
Yeah.
And you probably do just get used to it.
No reason, like it
don't
just
care.
doesn't phase you because it can't. Like you have no
Yeah.
choice. You can do it a few times
So
a day.
no one
You
else
can
is gonna
just get
do
used-
it.
Exactly.
What's yours been, Holly? What would you say?
Oh God.
What's a poo story you can share?
I mean, I've shared this one before, but
It's a good one though.
It is a good one, but I just really don't want to. I am sometimes I'll go into like I'll go to events and stuff, and I'm starting to be like, oh, it's the poo girl. I'm like, that wasn't what was on my 2025 bingo card, but here we are. There was one time where I was at a festival, Hideout Festival. We were like 20 maybe, I think. And it was late at night, 3:00 in the morning or something, and I just like desperately needed the toilet. And at the time, just thought I needed a wee, whatever. And the queues for the toilet were huge, and I was just absolutely desperate. So I just decided
toilets are the worst,
Oh,
aren't they?
awful.
Oh, God, no.
So off she went.
So off I went into the bushes somewhere. It was pitch black because it was like, I mean, if anyone's been to Hideout, it's like the middle of nowhere in Croatia. And just sort of like had a wee, whatever, then realised I needed to go for a poo. So I was like, okay, well, it's dark and there's no one around, so whatever.
Yeah.
Does a bear shit in the woods? No, but Holly
That's
does.
always the saying from that trip. Mortified. And yeah, so just did that, finished or whatever. And then as I was like finishing, I looked to the left of me. There was a man stone cold, passed out, like obviously like wasted or something, lying so close to me that I was like, if that man rolls over,
Which he probably inevitably
might have
did.
done, but he'll never know it was me. And if he's listening to this, then now he knows. If he
Sorry.
ever woke
I
up
hope
one
he's
night-
okay.
Yeah, I hope he's all right.
We left him napping.
Yeah.
It's more of
So
a
you
bad
gotta-
story for him.
Yeah, I guess.
I feel bad
When
for
you gotta
him.
go,
And
you
off
gotta
she
go.
went back to the party.
Yeah, great time.
Desensitized to it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I've got any poo stories.
Yeah.
I can think of one that's not my poo that was an awful story, and it was
Tell us, we need to know.
I'll tell you my poo story. So I've got a dog who's now he's about 1.5, but I got him last year I think. So maths, I don't know how old he was, still a baby, and we were bringing him into the office, and it was and it gets really dark now at like 4 p.m.
Yeah.
And he'd gone out into the car park of the office to do his little toilet business. And it was obviously pitch black, so I couldn't see. And he had something in his mouth. So I was just like,
Oh,
oh,
no,
Toby,
he ate
get it out your mouth.
Yeah, they
I
eat
couldn't
it.
see a thing. So I literally didn't even think. I just plied open his mouth, put my hand in and pulled this thing out. And I was like,
Little shit.
what is that? Like, I could smell it instantly, and I could feel it.
Oh no, it's dog
And
shit.
It wasn't
Yeah.
dog shit. It
No?
was human shit.
No
Fuck.
way.
It was
off. How do you
human-
know? Because it was
I
massive.
know. I just know. And there was toilet paper in it as well.
Ah!
So I had it in my nails, in my hands, on my rings.
No.
And I literally
Oh my
dropped
God.
his lead, texted the group chat, and I said, I need help right now. I need all of my staff to come downstairs right now. I need everyone. So everyone ran downstairs into the car park, and I went, I've got human shit on my hand. And then they literally took Toby. I went and bleached my hand. I couldn't eat with my hand for such a
I'm
long
surprised.
time. This hand has had human poo on it. And everyone was like, are you sure it was human? I was like, I know it was human. You
Yeah.
know the
Well,
difference
if it has
between
toilet paper on it, definitely
yeah,
was.
Definitely
you
a
know the
dog's.
difference between a dog poo and a human poo. That was a
Yeah,
human
wow.
poo. So I had to bring it up to the landlord, and I just said, just a bit concerned that there was a human poo in there. But our office is in the countryside, and she said, I think someone would have just done a
desperately
poo.
needed
They
it.
just need to
Well,
go.
they did to me.
Yeah, they did
Yeah,
to
they
you. Maybe
did
it was
to
you.
Yeah.
Was it in Croatia?
It was
And
not
that
in
is-
Croatia.
yeah, exactly. And that is
Oh
how-
yeah.
no, that's savage.
That was
because it'd be under
horrible.
your nails.
Oh, it was horrible.
Which is actually why I have to have short nails.
Well,
these
just
are
for that reason.
Well, toddler nails.
Oh,
You get
suppose,
shit under
yeah,
the
yeah,
nails.
it was
yeah.
Which
horrible.
happens, right?
Yeah,
It was
Because you go and you're like, oh, what? It's everywhere. Or it gets out of the
disgusting.
nappy and you have to throw the clothes away.
And then it was in my dog's mouth as well. I was like,
That
I had
is
to like brush his
gross.
teeth and so I was like, you're eating a human poo. But I don't know if like, I mean,
And he
I've-
was eating it.
he was
I
just
forgot
eating
about
it,
that part
chewing
because
on
I
it.
was so
It was
traumatized
it
by
was
the fact he had it on new nails.
horrible.
But
I could
he had
smell
in
it
his
on
mouth.
him, like when
wow.
he came near me. That's why you don't kiss your dog on the mouth. Like,
Oh my God,
I'm not a dog on the mouth
yeah,
kisser.
so true.
But yeah, I don't know if I've had. I mean, I probably have, but I remember my worst time was when I was like severely anxious, like severely. You don't have any control over your bowels when you're anxious, and I had many a times of being on holiday in restaurants and
Shitting
yourself. I've
yourself.
just got to go. I've just got to run like right now. So moving on from the poo. So what so far has been the highlight of owning your business? It's only 2 months in, but what would you say so far has been the best bit?
Launch week.
Yeah.
Which was the hardest. Like, I thought I was going to throw up every day. But when
Every day I spoke to Joe, she's like, I'm going to be sick. I'm going to be sick.
I'm going to be sick. I'm going to be
Is
sick.
it just that fear of like, what if no one buys it, or what if, or what was it? What was the fear?
It's just adrenaline.
Yeah.
It's just adrenaline makes you feel sick. Like
It's
when you get married,
huge.
whatever it is.
Yeah, it's horrible.
With excitement makes me feel sick,
Yeah.
which is weird. And it was stressful. Like we were editing the website until like 10 p.m. the night before.
Well, in the morning, like 5 minutes before.
Yeah, literally, yeah. So I think that, and then, but when I look back now of what we did in that first week and how many units we sold,
Crazy.
That was insane.
like it was insane. And yeah,
Did you have any fear of not having to sell all the products and units, or did you feel like, no, like I think this will do
I
well?
don't think we felt
Yeah,
that
we
much pressure.
Yeah, we
yeah.
tripled our order before. Thank
Yeah.
God we did.
Yeah, thank God.
We tripled our order right before we kind of placed. As we were placing the order, we were like, I don't think this is enough.
Wow.
And thank God we did, because honestly, if we hadn't, we would have sold out in like 2 days. Pretty much.
Crazy.
Well, literally 2 days.
Yeah.
That's
Which,
insane.
and then we're not talking like, I'm a bit like, I'm a bit anti some of the like hype that can happen online.
Yeah.
Because I know of brands that, would be like, oh, we sold out in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You had 10 units.
Yeah.
No offense,
Yeah.
but it's amazing.
Let's be honest.
But
You
let's
now
be
got to.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had thousands of units
That's
of stock, which was like
insane.
really it was a pinch me moment. And I think for us, it was the kind of that experience in that first few weeks where I really could see how quickly it had taken off, and and people's reception to it was such a pat on the back to Joe and I, because obviously for 2 years we've been working behind the scenes tirelessly, especially those last few weeks. I mean, they were like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. nights pretty much all the time. Because you're just getting everything done for that one pinnacle moment of like launch. And I always said to Joe, I was like, I don't think we're ever really, unless you launch another product or whatever, which is kind of similar, you're never going to get that feeling where you're always going to be a brand that's out there now.
Yeah.
When you're working up to that launch point, you're no one knows who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd been speaking about it in the lead up, like on YouTube and whatever, but it wasn't really anything that we were kind of, and then you're out there and everyone knows who you are.
Yeah.
You just you're working silently in the background, like elves, like you've got all these ideas, you're putting them all into place, you're hoping people love them. And then you get out there and you get this feedback loop. And it's amazing, because we were just so grateful that people were so receptive to it.
Yeah.
You finally have a dialogue with people. It's really rewarding to have that. And for all of the hours that Joe and I had put into developing the brand and seeing how quickly people had responded and how positively people had responded, I was like, we're onto something huge here. Like, I don't know, sometimes I do think you just have a feeling.
Yeah.
And we really felt that. And it like still gives me tingles now when I think about it. But also just the fact that like, okay, all of this wasn't for nothing.
It all makes sense.
It all makes sense.
Yeah.
And every single stage of this brand and building it has all made sense. You know, when you're like in a relationship or like you date someone and people will be like, when you know,
Yeah.
and it will just feel natural.
So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Like, that is how this whole journey, as hard as it has been, has felt for us. And it's just such a comforting feeling, because you're not stressed. We're stressed, but you're not stressed for the wrong reasons. You're just, you care about it and it's important. And so you'll pour everything into it. But it just feels right. So you're like, oh, I'm in exactly the right place and I'm exactly where I need to be. And all of the shit that's happened before, not with building the brand, but as in, life or whatever. And you're just like, oh, it was all worth it.
Yeah.
For this
Where I'm
moment.
supposed to be.
I love that, because I think that I swear there's like a quote around when you're stressed, it's because you're not doing enough of what you love. But I think sometimes there can be good stress where it's like,
Yeah,
got so
that's
much
the
to do, I'm
adrenaline,
excited about it. So it's like, you can be stressed about the little like niggles and things that go wrong, but also sometimes it's healthy to have a bit of like healthy stress and excitement about it.
Stress is good. Like, stress is good. And I think I had, speaking from when I made the jump to leave, which was a really difficult decision for me. It took me like a year or so, you know, to make the decision that now I was ready.
Yeah.
I was really comfortable, and I really do firmly believe that comfort is like where stuff just goes to die. Like, I do think that like you have to feel. Sorry, it's really like, but
it's true.
It's you've got to feel challenged because otherwise it's like how do you grow? And I'm a massive, I've done therapy my whole life. I really believe in like investing in yourself. You have to spend your whole life with yourself. So like make it a nice place to be.
Yeah.
True.
And challenge yourself and put yourself into situations, because how do you know how capable you are if you don't try?
Yeah.
And
definitely.
so one of the like biggest things is like just feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And fear has massively held me back in my life. And I think with launching the brand and choosing to leave a really safe, really successful career, that gave me a really nice life, to choose to step out of that basically into the unknown fundamentally is really scary.
Yeah.
But like so much has happened in the last 12 months that I like could never have even imagined would have happened otherwise if you didn't try.
Yeah.
And also your idea of what is the worst that can happen never is as bad as your mind makes it out to be.
Yeah.
And so I always try and remember that, like, whatever you're telling yourself, it won't be anywhere near as bad, even with like uncomfortable conversations. Or I don't love conflict, and I've like really tried to lean into that as I've got older, because it's, you know, you kind of have to just lean into it. I've always been super terrified of hearing no and whatever.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, you won't know, and it's never as bad as you think it'll be.
And I guess like it comes with obviously having a business partner. You have to have tricky conversations sometimes.
It's true.
How do you guys balance like being best friends but also business partners?
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Hol had a really good idea that she'd seen on social from the beginning, where we set like some rules of business of how to do it.
Yeah.
Because you are ultimately different people at work than you are in friendship. And it's like we're in a relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not it is a friendship, but it's also a relationship.
Yeah.
You speak to each other from the minute you wake up until the minute you go to bed. And I think you have to just respect the other person's decisions, respect the other person's time, and respect the other person's balance, ultimately.
Yeah.
And what, you know, we're building a brand for us. I think we always have to remind ourselves of that. We're going to do it at our own pace and do it how we want to do it. And that means setting boundaries for ourselves. Like we spoke about, like not having meetings on Fridays.
Yeah.
The whole having time to do exercise. After work with my son. The things that we don't want to give up.
Yeah.
And then on a friend's point of view, I guess like even we went out for a very nice lunch yesterday for our Christmas.
So nice.
And it's so important to be friends as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we'll no doubt have hard conversations come up down the line. And we have very different strengths.
Yeah.
Which I guess we play into, obviously, and you want to do those things. And it's about expanding past those things and learning from each other. So it's a work in progress.
Yeah, it is. And it's a massive advantage for the strengths that we both have. Like we are so different. And then like loads of similarities, but like from a career perspective, like you could not get two better people to build a business, in my personal opinion. Because you've got like
opposite careers.
With opposite careers, but like Joe's obviously very much the creative, 100% has the vision for like the PR, the marketing side of stuff, whereas I'm more commercial and more business and ops and, you know, all of the kind of like, I don't know, I feel like the stuff that no one wants to do, but more just like we just have very different skill sets. And I think at the end of the day, you are in business 50-50. And I've always said that. We've always said, you know, we are 50-50 in this. We're equal partners. One is no more stronger than the other. And we have to respect each other's differences. And they are what makes us really special. So rather than trying to like, you know, square peg round hole the thing, accept each other for who we are. And also you know, the scheduling thing was always going to be different because I think again, like, you know, Joe's got pickup and she's got a child and we work on different, you know, I get up like we both get up super early, but like we just have different like times that when we can work. Like I said to Joe, like please don't book a creative meeting after 3 because I'll be useless. And it's knowing that rather than trying to be this like all-rounder that can do it all. Newsflash, she can't.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's important about just taking, and you're not going to wake up one day and like know all of your strengths and your weaknesses, but it's just really important to take the time to understand what they are.
Yeah.
I think so.
And, you know, working on building weaknesses and focusing on your strengths and, you know, it's a work in progress, like I said.
What would you say are like the main things you've each taken from your amazing careers into what you do today with the brand?
I mean, nothing is unsolvable. Like literally nothing is unsolvable, I believe. And I think that like that, just having that attitude, because honestly, just running a business is just solving one problem after another.
Yeah, it literally is. Problem solver 101.
Yeah, and not being afraid of leaning into them. And I guess I think having the foresight that I have had from building brands for other people has massively helped.
Yeah.
But in the same vein, it's been super nice to do it alongside Jo, who has been within a different field and maybe hasn't had that foresight, because it's made her lack of being able to see that is such an advantage, because I get to see it through Jo's eyes.
Yeah.
Like building the journey of like a business and I guess what it takes. And it also teaches me to kind of, sometimes I go I'm like moving at a million miles a minute and I don't think I'll ever be so horizontal that I'm like lying down, but I definitely think it's
very good at
important.
multitasking.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a huge strength. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And you're like, we spoke about it. And then I'm like, oh God, yeah, I forgot. Whereas I guess I'm kind of like on the creative side, I think knowing what makes women in particular like tick and click in what they want to read or what resonates with them. And they're the things that excite me most about the brand. And then obviously there's all of the other shit that needs to get done.
Yeah.
So I guess learning to balance those things has been a journey, but I guess taking that from it in the creative side and the visual side of things.
Yeah. Yeah, the visuals, the marketing's been like
Oh.
a star. It's
Thank
been amazing. I love the
you.
megaphones that you've got as well. They're so cute.
And obviously that is, I'm not saying that's all just me. Obviously we're very 50-50 in that as well, in all the filming, the videos, ideas.
I bet you learn so much from each other about
I
everything.
100%.
Very balanced out. So we finish on a quick fire round of questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, strapped in.
Well, should you do like ding ding? Say as fast as we can. You go first.
Yeah, it's like a buzzer. I need to go first.
Ding ding ding.
So, what's the most recent business-related cry or mental breakdown that you've had?
This is maybe starting off a bit, I don't know if it's dark. My grandma died recently and it was just like a massive wake-up call for me because it really took me by surprise. And then whilst also trying to run a business, and like I'm just so grateful that I had Jo, because I was like dealing with grief whilst launching a business is like a lot. So I would cry a lot of the time. For the last like 4 weeks I've been a bit like, don't know if I'm coming or going. So that's life and business kind of like happening at once.
That is always the silver lining though, is it gives you a proper wake-up call and you just think, God, life is so short. Like, why are we not starting businesses and
100%.
doing crazy shit and doing what we want to do?
Yeah. Sitting there in the funeral looking at a box and you're just like, it all amounts to this. So it's even more important to go for it.
Yeah.
And more important to not stress the small stuff because it literally doesn't matter.
Don't matter. No. What about yours, Jolene?
I think I cried yesterday, very hormonally. Just looking at my son and him being like super cute, but me being like, I'm missing everything. He had a very dramatic entrance to nursery yesterday. Floods of tears. Don't leave me, Mama, I want to go home. So I was like, it's so hard splitting myself between those two things. So that was hard. And it happens a lot, but yeah, I guess I have to get used to it.
It's like having a poo as well. Sometimes you need to cry. Sometimes you need a poo. Sometimes you need to cry. It needs to come out. What is a quote?
I like to cry.
I love a cry.
Love a cry.
I sometimes watch a movie to cry.
Listen to music to cry.
Cathartic.
I was saying it was like, I think it was last night we were watching. I was watching Love Is Blind, Italy.
Oh yeah,
obsessed.
Love Is
Everybody
Blind.
needs to watch. And I was just like, why is crying? Crying is just like in every different pivotal moment of life. Like happy, sad, stressed, tired, constipated,
bloated.
It comes out all the time.
Missed your train.
All the time.
Help me.
Help me.
What is a quote that you live by? Can be business or personal.
I was thinking about this earlier, and it's like the best ideas come to you on the toilet.
Yeah.
You know, like in the
So
shower, I
related to what
think
you do.
the toilet is better than that. Is when you're so immersed in the day-to-day and you've got a meeting after meeting and you've got to do this and got to do that. I find that really hard for creativity.
Yeah.
And then when I step back, I'm
Yeah.
on the loo,
Yeah.
I'm in the shower, or like Hol was saying with music, and I've literally walked to get some lunch.
Yeah.
I'll see something and be like, oh yeah, maybe we could do that, or we could
Yeah.
have this idea.
Yeah.
So giving yourself space for creativity, because if I'm sat at my desk all day, it's stifled.
Yeah.
And yeah, for the fun ideas, it's either when we're talking to each other, so you're bouncing off somebody else,
Yeah.
or you're in a semi-zen moment.
Yeah.
So you have to give
I
yourself
agree.
those.
Like taking yourself out of the everyday.
Taking yourself out of...
constant.
If you're
100%.
replying to an email, you're not
You ain't
thinking
thinking
of
about that.
like the next thing. And it's the big ideas that will make the big impact.
Yeah.
The day-to-day, obviously, you need to do and it takes over. But
Yeah.
the big ideas will make a splash.
Yeah.
So giving yourself... Literally. Oh my God, brilliant. Make a splash. You have to leave time for them if
Yeah.
you want to, like,
Definitely.
creativity-wise.
Yeah, for
I agree.
sure.
What about you?
I'm gonna butcher the quote, but it's like it's just to do with like fear and excitement. And I think sometimes when I'm kind of in a bit of a loop around like not doing something because of fear, I'll always say like fear and excitement are exactly the same emotion. It's just that one is like your resistance to the same thing.
Yeah.
And they are essentially the same emotion. It's like it's your mind that's like tricking you that you can't do something, or that you're telling you that that's scary. Because fundamentally, unless I'm jumping off a building, I'm all right. Like it's like not going to be, it's good to feel fear. So I just remind myself that sometimes.
I agree. I've heard that before. I think like Mel Robbins said something. She was about to go on stage. She was like, my body feels nervous, but I'm telling myself that it's excited.
Yeah.
What has been your proudest moment so far in business in your career?
Doing this, like like launching this and launching a brand in something that people didn't expect, and that just feels so right, and having the confidence to do that as well.
Yeah, having the confidence, and I would say the feedback that we've had from customers, actually makes me feel so proud.
Oh my God, like I cry.
So you feel emotional, yeah?
Yeah,
100%. We love Viv so much.
we have
like
Viv's
the
one
people, we
customer,
know
Viv.
their names.
Wow.
Like when there's not like a huge machine here, and like the founder isn't seeing who.
No. We sent her
their
a Christmas
customer
gift
are.
this week.
Oh,
Yeah,
Love
so
her.
Love her. Write to them. We want like have events with them. We did our first VIP event, which VIP event, which we invited our community to, and we want to get to know people.
Yeah.
So the more dialogue we have, be it over email, events, Instagram, and the feedback that we've had, especially like Hol said, of being like, I actually feel comfortable to talk about it now, or I feel comfortable to go to the doctors.
Yeah.
And for somebody to say to us that they've been able to reach out to a doctor because they've realized that something was wrong, and then they weren't afraid or ashamed to go to a doctor. Like if something is wrong, always go to a doctor. But that felt like a very proud moment that we've given someone the boost and the confidence and being able to hopefully shake off those like very age-old stigmas around poo. We all poo, and as Holly and I say, we just want to do it better, and we want to do it more.
Yeah.
And so I think empowering other people was probably the proudest business moment so far.
Yeah, and I think the amount of time that people go, like, we literally get messages on the daily of like, you've changed my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool.
Insane.
Like just through poo.
Just very big.
It's so nice, so wholesome. Like I'm
Somebody
just like,
bought 12 in a day
Yeah.
because they said it had changed their life so much.
just a
That's
lot of money.
year's
Do you know what I mean?
supply.
Like,
That's insane.
A lot of money.
yeah,
All
people
from
trust-
shit and poo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally.
and
Who knew?
you don't underestimate.
We do. Like even like being able to go like once a day is a blessing.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, it
It
honestly,
really is. If you've not
stunning.
experienced it before. What is a book or movie that's changed your life that you need everyone to know about?
I don't feel like this is a new book, and I feel like people are a bit on the fence about this book. But when I was 18, I'm 34 now. When I was 18, I read The Secret,
Oh, I love The Secret.
and like it just, I'm not sure how well it's aged, but fundamentally the essence of what it's saying is true. And I have just always, I remember a friend introducing me to it. I'm still friends with now, and she introduced me to that book, and it just massively opened up my mindset with regards to like spirituality and like how I speak to myself is literally fundamentally the most important thing that you can do in your life. So like make sure it's nice, but also make sure your words create your reality, and I really do believe that. So that really kind of put me on a path to remember the importance of I mean, I did tell myself I was going to get £1 million check like every single day, and it never arrived like that. But maybe now.
One day it will.
One day,
I will.
absolutely
But,
will. Maybe you needed to put a timestamp on it.
Yeah, maybe.
Next day,
You
be like,
did say that
tomorrow,
to be fair.
11 a.m.
Yeah,
would be really great.
Yeah, it
Thank
wasn't
you.
specific enough. Exactly.
Mine would be actually my friend Josh's book. It's called Great Chat. I met Josh the first time I was at Grazia a decade ago. And he is just joy in a person. He's like sunshine personified. And his book, Great Chat, is about having really difficult conversations and being able to overcome them and have the confidence to say what you want to say, but without overpowering any situations or any people. So it's really about having empowering, amazing conversations that make you, but also other people feel good. So it's just a feel-good book. Yeah, and how to have hard conversations, how to have amazing conversations.
Yeah. Because it's all through communication. Like business is just communication and people, isn't it? Which I've massively taken on this year. Even like, you know, if you've got like an unhappy client or an unhappy team member, people hold it in and it turns into resentment and drama.
Absolutely.
And I'm always just like, just get on the phone and just have
it
a conversation
now.
about
Speak to someone with respect.
Yeah.
But also if it's in a business sense and you need, you know, you need to get your point across.
Yeah.
There are ways to do that aren't aggressive. That you can have that in a really constructive way. So that's an amazing book if you haven't read it.
To my list. I'll add it to my mental list. What's one thing you can't live without as a business owner?
Airplane mode. I know that sounds like literally so, and also very fitting for where we are. I've like just really always carried that. I'm a bit, like undiagnosed a bit ADHD, so I feel like I am so easily distracted.
Yeah.
So for me, like even just like in the morning, having my phone on airplane mode for the first hour, because otherwise I'll be getting ready, doing an email, doing like I literally will just try and do 1,000,001 things at once, and I'm really trying to like focus on doing the one thing that's in front of me and doing it well rather than trying to do 10 things at once.
Yeah.
And airplane mode sometimes just really helps me, even if it's for like 20 minutes on an evening. Yeah. I know no one can contact me.
Yeah.
That for me is just gives me a peace of mind.
It is the best. I'm a avid like do not disturb.
To do that more.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I have no notifications. Yeah.
I even put time limits on now on your settings on your phone. I put time limits on socials, so I get like an hour a day, and that's it. And then it just boots me off because otherwise I'll just sit and I'll be like constantly go on with it.
Yeah, I don't spend that much time on social other than our own. But WhatsApp, like I can just go down the hole with WhatsApp. And I still have 50 unread messages.
You love a WhatsApp group.
I love a WhatsApp chat. And now at the minute, I'm just so behind.
Yeah.
So like if I haven't replied to anyone, I'm sorry.
It's admin work.
It's been busy.
What's your one thing you can't live without, Jolie, would you say?
I would say my husband, in that he's so supportive. And I know I've talked about juggling parenthood, but like Hull says, like, pick up any of those things. If you've got someone else to lean on and you're in it 50-50, you feel empowered on the other side because you know you've got someone who's got your back completely, always, best interest at heart. So I would say him. And also he's an amazing businessman himself, so can teach me a lot. And I'll be like, I don't know how to do this thing. And he's like, it's okay, we could do it together. And our strengths are very different. So I'm like, okay, you can do the accounting things.
I'm
help
just
me.
a girl.
I feel bad now. Donnie's listening, sorry. Love you too. Need you.
What would you say is your daily non-negotiable?
Bowel and bloat relief, obviously. I mean,
100%.
that's like the minute I wake up, it is the first thing I go and do in the kitchen. They're like in a stash on the side, right by where like we'll never ever forget.
And they're very aesthetically pleasing as well.
Thank you
Why,
very much.
thank you. We worked very hard on that.
What is something you feel pressure to be great at that you haven't yet mastered?
I mean, lots of things. I feel like to be great, I think the pressure is to be great at everything when your strengths don't lie in everything.
Yeah.
So no person, I would say, is amazing at everything. So leaning into your strengths and then learning how to do the other stuff on the side.
Especially as business owners, we've got so much. Like, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that.
Yeah, and I guess you've got only a certain amount of time, right? So your hierarchy of time and where you spend that time and knowing what's going to take the most time, what's going to, like Hol says, make the boat. Is it the boat?
Make the boat move
faster.
Yeah.
Like those things, I guess you have to focus on, and other things will probably fall off at some point. But as long as, I guess, in your head you get that hierarchy right,
Yeah.
and the things that are going to make the biggest splash are the things that you focus on without letting anything completely fall off.
Yeah.
So I guess it's the juggle and knowing where to spend the time.
Because I think as a business owner, like there is fundamentally, just in life, there's limitless choices and opportunities that you could take or make, right? Like, and I'm a big believer in, I don't really think there's good and bad decisions by the most part, right? Like, you're just one decision away from, but you could have also chosen another route and you would have maybe taken you longer, or you would have gone a completely different way and you might have ended up with the same outcome, or you might have ended up with a different one. That doesn't make it any less valuable. So I think the more that you can just focus on making the next decision, don't sweat it too much, and accepting that like you are not going to be able to, the amount of ideas that we have like a day, you're not going to be able to do them all. So like get comfortable with the fact that you can't do them all, but just know that you'll make the right decision in that moment. And then maybe in 6 months or in 2 years, you'll go, oh my God, remember that insane idea we had? Now we can finally do it. Because you are only one person and you could only do so much. And you also need to have like a life to some degree. You know, you see all this conversation around there's no such thing as balance and, you know, work-life balance and all that stuff. And I think it's different when you see, I don't see my work or the business as like, it's just as much of my life as my relationship with Donnie or my friends or, you know, personal aspects. So like they're all just intertwined. It's not that like one stops and the other one starts really, because they never do when you run your own business, as you'll know. And so I think for me, it's like the thing I need to be better at is boundaries, because I think when you've worked as hard as we have for like I have poured so much into a career and building, and then you get off the ladder and you realize like, oh my God, I've got an opportunity here to carve out exactly what I want it to look like. I don't need to be, you know, the absolute top performer and work as faster than anybody else in order to succeed like that. You kind of create these, I think, when you're working through your career, you kind of create these like schemas and ideas of like how you need to be in order to be successful. And then you come off that and you realize actually none of it matters. You instinctively know how hard you work, you know what you're good at, you know what you're not good at. So you can carve out what that looks like without having to kind of perform. I think there's a lot of performing that happens in your career. So I think understanding boundaries and knowing that, you know, I don't, like, it's literally taken me, 12 months from leaving my job to realise that I don't need to wake up at 7 a.m. every day. I could actually just lie in until 8:30 if I wanted to, because no one's telling me otherwise.
So nice.
So it's like just carving out like what your life looks like. And for anyone who's like left that and gone and done their own thing, it is a weird adjustment.
And we're also told what we should and shouldn't be doing as business owners.
Caroline always said this to me. She was like, should is the worst word in the English dictionary. Why should I do anything?
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
It says who? Like,
Okay, so just to wrap up, is there anything at all that you want to promote, that you want people to know about? Where can they find you? Tell us about all of that jazz.
Funny you should ask. We absolutely do. We have an amazing brand. We are regular bowel and bloat relief for constipation and bloating, very much born off Holly's personal struggles and personal solution, which I think really makes us stand out. You can find us on Instagram, on TikTok. We do some. What do you want to talk about? What we do on TikTok?
We just have a bit more fun on TikTok. We all know what TikTok is like. Do whatever the hell you want. It's silly. Yeah. They're so different as platforms, but we are .regular on Instagram and on TikTok.
Don't forget the dot.
Don't forget the dot. Very important, the dot. And I have a YouTube, How to Build a Brand, which has kind of just been documenting the whole process of starting the business, which has been super fun. And very confronting all the time. And you're like, oh, wow, I look like that. And every single week. Socials, our socials.
Yeah, plug your socials.
Why bloody not?
I did this the other day and I actually said it wrong, which is mortifying because I was like, I clearly just never say it.
God, what mine is? Jolie Gabrielle.
Holly Victoria.
Joely.
There we go.
Yeah, Holly
I
Victoria.
Thought yours was HVP at some point.
It was, and then we changed it. Did a bit of a
rebrand.
Rebrand.
You got to rebrand yourself every now and then.
Yeah.
You do. Why not?
You do. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I have loved that. I love a refreshing convo about things that we shouldn't talk about. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Loved it.
Bye,
Chat
everyone.
shit all day.
Bye.
Bye.